Here's Archie's Travels, Chapter 42, entitled That Evening. That evening they went back to Dolly's parents, and they were officially declared a couple. Dolly's parents were delighted, and her mum embarrassed her by saying that she could almost hear wedding bells ringing. James smiled a polite smile, but he knew that they were far too young to get married. This calls for a celebration, Dolly's mum said, and she plonked apple pie and custard in front of them. It smelled and tasted delicious, and Dolly could feel it warming her insides as it slowly sank down like an anchor. She smiled at James, and she could tell that he was enjoying it too. Meanwhile, Archie was sitting in his kennel, and he looked out at the sparkling frosty night, and he'd come a long way from the days of the farm. But every now and then he couldn't help looking back and thinking of how fortunate he was. He knew one thing: his days of running around were over. He was happy and settled. Dolly and James chatted about their days and how they were excited and looking forward to Christmas. Dolly was looking forward to it too, especially now that she had a gorgeous boyfriend to spend time with. James was quite upset. James was quite quiet. He was thinking about what his parents would think, and his dad was obsessed with him doing well at school and getting a good career. He didn't want him to be unhappy, but he always told him to leave girlfriends when he had passed his exams. They are a distraction, he always said. Archie's eyes were getting heavier and heavier, and he was struggling to stay awake. And just as he was beginning to doze off, he heard the snap of a twig in the distance, and then the ominous crunch, crunch, crunching of footsteps in the snow. And his heart began to beat faster, and as they got closer. Friend or foe, he thought, and he almost wanted to fall back to sleep and hope that he was imagining things. And then the footsteps stopped, and a figure dressed as black as night bent down and looked into his frightened eyes, and he realized that they had met before.